How to lose the last 5 to 10 pounds of stubborn fat. Yes, the last 5 to 10 pounds of stubborn fat can sometimes be a problem. Hi, I'm Dr. Alessi, author of Lose Fat Forever, the Buno Diet, host of Live It Fit Now, and contributor for USA Today. And oftentimes I talk about people that have to lose a lot of weight, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds or more. And I think sometimes we lose track of what if you don't have that, or what if you only have 5 to 10 pounds to lose, and you're already doing a lot of the right things. You're already exercising regularly and consistently, and you're already eating well, or at least semi-eating well. I think there are some things to help get you over the hump to really get in better shape. And I want to give you a 3-part plan right now that I use with my own private clients if you're at that level and you need to accelerate and drop that last 5 to 10 pounds of stubborn fat. Okay, so the first part of the process is the fact that you do want to be doing your exercise, but we're going to change up a little bit how it's done. I'm going to write things out on the whiteboard right now, and I'm about to impress you with my graphic skills here because they're really, really advanced. So number one is we do want to do our exercise. Now, for most of my clients, I have them training 3 days per week. Why? Because, well, 3 days per week is a good number for most people that are beginners or even intermediate to get results and to fill it into their lifestyle, which a lot of people could accomplish. So 3 times per week. And by the way, the days of the week don't really matter. If you train consecutive days, Monday and Tuesday, and then Friday, it's not a problem. As long as your workout is different all 3 of those days, you'll be fine. But one of the things that I like to do with people that do want to accelerate and go a little bit more is I would change 3 days per week and increase it to 4 days per week of training. And that will help burn more calories each and every day. Now, when I say exercise, there's 1 part strength training, 1 part cardio. At this point, I'm only talking about the weight training, the strength training. So the strength training is what's going to help you burn calories. Muscle tissue is where calories are burned. So strength training 4 days per week. Now, what do we do during those 4 days? Well, that's into programming, and that is a more complex subject matter, but the key is that you work big muscle tissue, the big muscles of the hamstrings, the glutes, and the back, and you have to do legs at least twice of those 4 days. Oftentimes people like to skip legs because it's a harder workout, but it's super necessary. The bigger muscle burns more calories. Now, also, one of the ways to get over the hump is to make sure that you're doing your strength training fasted before you consume calories. It's going to help us burn more calories and drop more fat during the workout. So fasted workouts will work better and it will work quicker for dropping body fat. Now that you're doing that though, where does cardio fit in? And the answer is, if given enough time and you are somewhat, once again, more intermediate on this, we want to do cardio later in the day. In fact, we want to do it after your last meal. Now, your last meal should be dinner. I don't want you to have anything later than that. And then you would do cardio 3 to 4 days per week as well. If you do your fasted cardio at that time, it'll help get the sugar out of your liver, and you will burn more fat each and every night, even as you're sleeping. That cardio doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't have to be super high intensity. It can be moderate intensity. It could be walking outside. It could be being on a stationary bike or an outdoors bike. It could be on an elliptical climber. It doesn't matter what it is, and it can change each and every time that you do cardio. But it's got to be medium intensity, not super high intensity. Medium, which means you could get going, break a sweat, but still be able to have a conversation if you wanted to. Put the workout together that way, and that's the first step of dropping more fat. Number 2 of the 3-part plan when it comes to burning more fat is going to be, number 2 is going to be your food. It's going to be your diet. Now, once again, if you're looking to lose the fast 5 to 10 pounds of stubborn fat, you're already doing a lot of the right things. This isn't where most people are going to start unless you're starting from a place of being a little bit more advanced, then I guess you would be starting there. But for most people, they're on a journey. They've already dropped and shed fat already, or dropped weight and lost fat, but they still have a little bit more to go. And in that case, we have to work a little bit more on food. When it comes to food, what I teach is all about blood sugar level and insulin. Normal fasting blood sugar should be between 65 and 99 milligrams of sugar first thing in the morning, fasted. Now, it's not going to stay there, and it will change. If your blood sugar first thing in the morning fasted is above 99, you're slight, moderate, severe diabetic. We don't want that. And if you were to ask me what would be the ideal fasting blood sugar, I would tell you 75 to 85. So we're going to use 80 as the middle line. That's a really good place to be if your fasting glucose is around 80. Once again, it won't stay there. But the trick when it comes to blood glucose level is to never, ever let it change by much. The least amount it could change, the better. For most people, I like to keep them between 80 and 120 throughout the day. Not fasted, but daily blood sugar level all the way up to PM or the time they go to bed. And if the way you're eating stays in that range, you're going to have unbelievable success. Not just success for weight loss and fat loss, that you're going to have. You'll also have a lot of success in your health, in your energy, in your clarity mentally, in your vibrancy, and in the length of your life. That is essentially what you want to pull off. But we must avoid is all of these frequencies of having spiking high blood glucose levels. If blood glucose levels go too high, and I've shared this in other videos many times, you're going to have too much accumulation of sugar in your vessel walls, so your body's going to produce insulin to get your blood sugar level lower, and it should produce insulin as long as you're not diabetic. And what's going to happen then is you're going to store that mixture of glucose and insulin as fat, which is what you don't want. So we don't want these highs. But once again, you're a little bit more intermediate or more advanced, and you're already doing these things. The next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we're really not having any of these over the course of a week. So for a lot of people, especially if they're just starting off, and what I teach during consultations is, depending upon the situation, we could take one day per week and have it as a free day or an off day or a cheat day. But if you're already, once again, more advanced and you want to get to the next level, I wouldn't use that cheat day to any great extent. In fact, if you could skip it, better, you're going to lose more. And secondly, if you do use it, to use it very sparingly, you're going to do a lot better because you're not going to have the blip and you're not going to have the release of insulin. Now, I do want to switch gears here for a second and talk a little bit about meal frequency. One of the things that I see people do oftentimes is they will have maybe breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and possibly throw in a snack somewhere, either between lunch and dinner, or possibly a snack after dinner. As we talked about with the exercise, we're not going to have any snacks after dinner because that's when we're going to be doing the cardio to take the sugar out of your liver, so that's already gone. Secondly, I want to get rid of this snack as well, because if we can extend the time out between your meals to at least 5, but maybe 6 hours, you're going to have lower levels of insulin, especially over the course of weeks and months. I would prefer a breakfast, lunch, dinner pattern even over the very popular intermittent fasting of just lunch and dinner, because typically intermittent fasting will be lunch, snack, dinner, and there's a bunch of food in there, which is going to cause a spike in insulin. And all of the research and all of the findings that we're looking at on DEXA scanners right now is if you eat 3 meals a day, you'll lose more fat than any intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting would be second place to eating 3 meals a day. So that is what you would have to pull off when it comes to your glucose and your meal timing to lose more fat and drop that last 5 to 10 pounds of stubborn fat. Now also too, nutritionally, when it comes to dropping more fat and having a fat burning machine for a metabolism, a couple supplements can help really make the difference. By far and away, the best supplement you're ever going to take for so many reasons is going to be cold pressed fish oil. Cold pressed fish oil will accelerate fat loss. especially if you take it 2 times a day. A little bit in the morning, a little bit at night. So separate the amount of dosages that you take in. It will accelerate your fat loss. And on top of it, it's extremely healthy for you. Once again, in so many ways, but the high concentrations of omega-3 fatty acids will help your heart. It will help your vessel walls. It will help your brain. It'll help every single organ, because ultimately that is what's going to take away free radicals and inflammation inside your body. But we didn't know until recently that it also works as properties of lowering blood sugar, lowering insulin, and as we just talked about with food, insulin is the key. The lower your insulin, the more fat you're going to lose, and fish oil helps lower insulin, which means it helps you burn more fat. Now, the other thing that works very similar to it, which is a little bit different though, is something called MCT oil, which is medium chain triglyceride oil. Many of my clients are already taking it, and you should take it. And a lot of people are doing it worldwide ever since Bulletproof talked about their Bulletproof coffee more than a decade ago now. But using MCT oil, or the medium chain of the middle of coconut oil, also accelerates fat loss. It lowers inflammation, lowers blood sugar, and it's good for the brain health. So all very positive things. What I do is I put a tablespoon in my coffee, first one in the morning. If I have another cup of coffee, I don't continue to add it. Or if you don't drink coffee or tea, you could add this to a protein drink as well. It accelerates your fat loss. Now, the third part of losing the last 5 to 10 pounds of stubborn fat, of course, is tracking and evaluating your progress. The more you look at your body fat and the more you look at your pounds of fat versus the pounds of water make all the difference in the world. Oftentimes, people only step on a scale. The scale, unfortunately, lumps everything together. It doesn't show if you're necessarily making progress. An analogy I like to use is if you're an accountant and you're trying to figure out if a business was successful, you can't just look at the revenue. You have to also look at the expenses. The same thing too when it comes to your body composition. You have to look, yes, at the total weight, but at the same time, let's break it apart. How much of it is lean tissue? And lean tissue is water, muscle, bone. It's internal matter. It's a lot of things. And the other part is just fat. And fat is the bad weight, the tough weight, the weight that we want to drop. So looking at your body fat at least every 4 weeks helps give you the advantage of being able to see what direction it's going to. Now, for people that want to accelerate it even more, I like to take that time down from 4 weeks to 3 weeks. And even for some clients that are pushing even harder, I take it down to every 2 weeks so we can microscopically break this whole thing down to see exactly what direction they're going into in terms of their body composition, because it gives you the best feedback to change your behavior. To give you a reference point, this is the space or the size of 5 pounds of fat, stubborn fat. And if you had to lose 10 pounds of stubborn fat, it's 2 of these. Now you might be saying, well, oh my goodness, I only have to lose 5 or 10 pounds, but I have nowhere near that much fat. The answer is you do. It's not all pressed together neatly like it is here. It's not solid. It's spread out throughout your body, your whole body, internally and externally, because we do hold fat in a couple different ways. Subcutaneous, which is just below the skin, but also visceral, which is in between the organs, and that we can't grab. So fat loss is the goal. So once again, my point in this video today was to give you some more advanced reasons or ways in which you can drop body fat. And the plan was really broken down between 3 things. To change the workouts a little bit, increase the frequency, hit the big muscles, burn more calories, but do it in a fasted state, and then to do your cardio again later at the end of the day, after you've had your last meal. Nutritionally, a lot to it, but we want to keep insulin low by spreading out the timing and also making sure that those cheat days or off days don't go to any great extent, and the glycemic index of all the food choices that you're taking in is low. Some supplements can help make a difference. Fish oil makes a huge difference for body fat and overall health. MCT oil, once again, great supplement for fat loss and good for brain health. Lastly, that's how we lose the last 5 to 10 pounds of stubborn fat. So hopefully today this video served you. It's my pleasure in doing so. I want to make sure that always we're learning and doing the right things to get in better shape and better health. I'm Dr. Derek Alessi, wishing you the very best day, and to remember to make the most of your life and live it fit.